Welcome to the Elevated Trader Podcast. I am Dr. Kristin Kidgel.
And I am Tracy Ball. Join us every week as we journey into becoming better traders.
We believe becoming better traders involves elevating our skill, mindset, and our health. In each episode, we will discuss the current book we are exploring, and we invite you to join us on this journey.
Are you ready to elevate your trading, mindset, and health to the next level? Let's do this. And welcome back to another episode of the Elevated Trader Podcast. I am here with Kristin Kidgel. My name is Tracy, and we are continuing on with Peak Mind by Amishi Jha. Excellent book. Love it so far. We've done a couple episodes so far. So if you haven't listened to them yet, go back, listen to the last two episodes. Because this is a good one. I like this book. And one of the things that we didn't talk about in the last episode that I really wanted to cover first here is that idea. She said that we are all, and actually I just got an Oculus, which is a VR thing over here. And so when she said this, I thought it was really, really cool. But she said that our eyes are the perfect, best virtual reality machine. And that's what she related us. And we are all living in simulations. That's what we're living because, and we've heard this before. I'm sure you've heard this. You know, there's three sides to every story, your side, my side, and then the truth kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And the reality is that everything we see, do, feel, hear, all of that is processed through filters of experience and knowledge. And so your experience in the same stimuli is not the same experience that I have with the same stimuli because there's that filter of our experiences and our knowledge that gets processed through. So I thought that was a really neat thing. And we talked a little bit about bias last time. And that's where this really plays into this whole thing was that these simulations, these processes. And the other thing that I thought was really cool, because I've done this with my husband many, many times where we're talking about something and because he takes time to process information. He processes it like almost like a chess player where he's going through 500 steps down the path, trying to process all the different possible iterations of what could come out. And, you know, we're simulating, we're role playing, we're doing all of those types of things where we're going, okay, well, if this happens, this is what it would kind of look like. We're doing that little synopsis thing, right? And it's playing into all these different types of simulations. And, yeah, I just thought that was really cool because if you recognize that you're in a simulation, then you can recognize that maybe the information that you're processing it through or the filters that you're using might be altered or skewed or need adjustments. So I think that that's something that can help a lot of individuals in the way that they're thinking and changing their thoughts. And that's something we've talked about many times on this episode or on this podcast. So,
well, even many podcasts, right? Because a lot of our mindset books really do have us focus on being present and aware, and then maybe looking at it with a bigger view. But it's not just a bigger view, right? It's like if you're like, oh, well, I'm filtering it through my life. What about their lives? You know, there's that saying, it's like everyone's doing the best they can with what they've got. You know, it's like comparing the way, the kind of world you and I have grown up in versus the life and what was happening in the world and technology lacking in what our parents were brought up in. And then she actually talks about how can we expect our children to grow up similar to how we did when they have way more than we had. You know, the ability to learn. I mean, shoot, you could learn more than off of YouTube.
Oh. No excuses now, right?
Yeah, no excuses anymore.
The words I don't know should not be in the English language anymore.
And Google's like, scratch this out of your dictionary anymore.
Yeah.
It
should be, I choose not to know.
People are like, don't trust the internet for information. I'm like, go to Dr. Google, do some research.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Get smart, Pete. Okay. So that's, we digress a little bit. But I just, thinking that you are in a simulation, but it's like one that you've created is again, but that also comes back to like you can create the next version of you. You can create the next part of your life. So why did they bring that in though? Why did she talk about this? Is it because it creates, you have to bring the attention on your presence?
Yes, it's about that. It's about recognizing the here and now, and also recognizing those filters. So knowing that there is that information bias, knowing that there is the simulation mode, knowing that you can make those changes, that's all about that meta awareness, that situational awareness, that change that can happen on the inside. And that's really what this is it's about, right? Like focusing on being more self-aware and knowing where all the different things can come at you from. And it plays into it, right? So
that's a good segue into, moving through the book a little bit more. Things that we know, but we've not always practiced, is that if you are being distracted, you are disconnected. Period.
Yes.
There's no way around it. And I was telling you off camera that one of my biggest things is, if you and I are talking and you were asking me a question, I don't know. I do this a lot, but I wait for people to either stop what they're doing, which is usually they're on their phone. 90% of the time they're on their phone. But I will literally make myself wait, which is hard for me. Anybody that knows me, for me to wait for something is huge. So then they look at me and I'm like, you can go ahead. I'm like, no, I'll just wait till you're done. Usually I have the texting. But my point is like, you're distracted.
Yep.
I don't have your attention. And so I think that's really important to just reiterate to those of us that do know that, is to just be very mindful, like stop multitasking. I'm really trying to do that less, by the way.
It's interesting that you bring that up. So I have a question for you, because right now I am staring at a camera, right? Okay. I am staring at a camera because I want to make sure that you as the audience and you as Kristin know that I'm looking at you. I'm wanting you to feel the engagement from me. That's why I'm looking at the camera right now. Okay. But I am not looking at you right now, right? Yeah. I'm not actually seeing you with my own eyes. I am seeing a camera, which creates somewhat of a bit of a distraction for me.
For you, but I'm looking at you, and right. You're just under the camera. So it's different, isn't it?
It is. So my point, I guess, that I'm trying to make is that it's a distraction, because I'm actually physically not looking at you right now. And looking at you, if I was looking at you, I'd be looking right here. So this is where I would have to look at you and see you. And I feel, when I'm looking at you, I feel that more engagement. Mm-hmm. I feel the ability to focus on you more and focus on what we're talking about. So it takes a lot of effort and energy for me when I'm doing these podcasts to be able to stay focused on what's happening and continue looking at the camera, so that we have that eye contact as it is. So, you're able to position your viewfinder in an area that enables you to see me in a manner that can keep you connected. But I thought I'd point that out because I'm very aware of how that feels and how much energy it takes in order to keep that focus. So I know that. Can you imagine what it's like if you're busy on your phone or busy on your computer and somebody's trying to talk to you, or you're doing whatever and somebody's trying to talk to you? It happens with me all the time because I work from home. I've got my family that come and talk to me and I'm in the middle of working. It's like, okay, you know what? I need you to wait for 5 minutes because I have to finish doing this. And then I have to finish that. And then I have to focus on them because that's what's important. And I cannot do both. And I know that I can't do both, even though I've spent years thinking that, hey, I'm a master at multitasking. It's really not the truth. And it's not good for us.
Well, it's interesting because I think about how many people that I watch that do podcasts, and they're not looking at the camera. You know what I mean? Like, they're literally looking at the other person.
They are.
Yep. And so I find it interesting. You might change that because I'm always looking at you.
Yes. Well, there you go.
Very interesting.
There you go. It is, because like I said, I have a goal to have that engagement. I want you guys to see my eyes and I want you to feel that, right? And it's not capable, or I'm not capable of doing it. But I guess that's why you can get different views. If you have a side view, whatever, then that would give it a different look, I guess, on camera that might work. But anyway,
it's good to know. Now I can wear silly hats and you'll never know.
You could do all sorts of things and I wouldn't know, right? So it is what it is. But that's the point. Is it's just pay attention to some of the things that you're doing at this point, and see if you can be aware of the energy that it's taking for you to focus, And are you multitasking at the time? If you are multitasking at the time, could you put aside some of those tasks so that it doesn't take as much energy to focus on the thing that you're focusing on? Because that's the other thing, like how tired are you at the end of the day after you're doing all these multitasking events and after you're trying to focus? Maybe there's a more efficient way. Maybe if you took the time to focus on one thing at a time, you'd actually feel energized to do all of those things and you'd end up getting them done faster instead of multitasking and trying your hardest and taking all that energy to focus on the things that you need to focus while you're multitasking. So it just a thought. I thought I'd bring it up. And
well, I mean, it's important. Someone needs to hear it. And the other thing is, like, in your relationships, just having that ultra awareness or like ninja listening skills will literally revolutionize not just, your interactions, but all your relationships, all the at work, at home, like whatever. So now I know I'm losing our relationship is struggling, Tracy, because I know you're not looking at me and you're distracted. I'm just kidding. Okay.
But here's the thing with let's bring it back to relationships for a second, because the other thing that's important here is the memory aspect of it. So have you been in a very important relationship with somebody and you've said something to them that you thought was really important, but they don't remember?
Oh, well, I'm usually the one that goes, what was that? No, I don't remember. And so,
and so there's a moment, and I don't know if everyone experiences this, but I do. I experience this when I said something to somebody and I thought I had their attention and I thought it was important and I thought I made it clear and they don't remember. I feel a little unimportant.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, hey, why didn't you remember? This was important. I made it very clear to you. Like, I don't feel like that with everybody, but with people that are important to me, I feel like that's really important. And now my perspective is changing a little bit because it's really not about the value that they have on me. And I need to recognize that. It's not what they're saying. It's the fact that their attention may not be fully present at the time. And therefore it's not translating into a solid quality memory.
It's
getting erased. It's getting erased from that whiteboard before it gets processed into a place in their long-term memory where they can recall it at a later date. And that has nothing to do with the value, but you've said it before, right? Know better, do better. So, right now that we're aware, now that all our listeners are aware, keep that in mind when you're in relationships and when you're communicating with people that are really important to you. Having that focus on what they're doing, that here and now, being present in that is going to solidify those memories to a much better state and thereby communicate to them in other ways that say, hey, you're important to me and I value our relationship. And Kristin, I value our relationship. So I hope that you don't think that I am not remembering.
No, I'm totally giving you a hard time. Giving you a hard time. Okay, so let's just get to some of the nitty gritty.
Okay.
I have to give Amishi and her team the years of dedication, the strenuous amount of research that they have put into this. You guys, don't underplay the importance of the double-blind studies. You know what I mean? The different athletes, the different age groups, the different places in different societies and countries, the different levels of stresses, the different careers these people have chosen. This book has a lot of, she didn't go into the research, but she tells you this is who we used and how we used it. So you're getting just a little piece enough to, clap your hands for her and just say thank you, because that data that you've been collecting all these years to help those people that protect us, those people that help us, in times of crisis, those people that, well, I don't know if the pilots are doing this, but I'm going to attempt to make sure that my son, and how do I bring this maybe into his field, So this book's new. This data is kind of new. This research is new. So it boils down to how she was being asked to present this research in masses to the higher up people. She had all the research, And now she's presenting it to, this really needs to be here and here's why. And they're like, well, okay, bring it in. How can we get your teacher over here and over here? And she's like, well, I don't have enough teachers. And then what they had to do is figure out how to break it down and get it concise. Is it 30 minutes? That's good. Is it 20 minutes? That's good. Is it an hour? That's good. And so there was a ton more research into that. It just basically boils down to, and I say just, that's not a really great term for this. What's amazing is that they realized, and we're talking athletes, it doesn't matter who you are and what you're doing. If you want to build a muscle, in this case, your attention muscle, in this case, that part of your brain that they're actually measuring, let's don't forget that, right? With electrodes and monitors, and that if it's 5 days a week, 12 minutes a day, with either the find your flashlight, which is constantly recentering, or just doing a body scan. Okay, the back of this book, that's the sweet spot right there, you guys. So I'm giving it to you. We're giving you the data. But what I recommend is that in this book, she gives you, here's what to do week 1, and here's what to do week 2, and here's what to do week 3. And in a second, Tracy, I want to ask you what you've been noticing, but I also want to make sure that people know that I just happened to see maybe somebody on YouTube has put something out that is guided 12-minute thingies. And she did. She has a playlist. Tracy, can we attach a link to the playlist anywhere? Where can we put that? Can we put that on our website?
We can attach it into both. So it'll be on our Buzzsprout link. So if you go to the show website, I guess you could say, it'll be there. We'll do it. So check YouTube. That's probably going to be the best place.
Yep. So I think it's 3 to 4 weeks, because you and I have only been doing this a few weeks, but that whole playlist is there, and she has her other, they're not her students, they're coworkers in this. And so it's just not her for every video. But the playlist is done very, very well. And I've been using the playlist.
That's great. That's excellent. So no, I think it's great. I'm glad that we've done this, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And in fact, one of the things that I've made a change to now is with my trading. After every single trade, I don't stop and meditate, but what I do, I take a quick couple minutes just to recenter my breath, take a deep breath, and I also do the note-taking. So any note-taking and what have you regarding my trade, I get it done now. I used to not do that. I would save it and try and recall the information later. Now I do it after every trade, and that kind of does a couple things. First of all, it recenters my processing so that any biases or whatever gets cleared. It allows for more information processing, because it allows for more information to come into my whiteboard that I can then process. It also disengages that amygdala. So any emotions that might be attached to that particular trade that just happened, they're gone. So there's a few different aspects of that, but I've definitely started doing that since reading this book. That's something that I have applied religiously.
Yeah, I think it would be good to actually do it before a trade too. Like you're setting it up, taking a metaverse. I said metaverse.
Yeah.
But like that moment where you're looking at yourself, as a little video. Yes. From above kind of thing.
And we do, because that's what we do with we do that with our morning routine, right? You and I. So that is our start. And then doing it after every single trade prepares you for the next trade. So that's the whole goal. So no, great point. But
and I think not even just with trading, right? Like, let's just talk about when you're getting ready to order food. I think you could use this in absolutely everything before every golf swing.
I agree. I think it's important just to put in that extra breath. Just a couple seconds just to recenter yourself. I think it's a great practice.
Yeah, I love it. Instead of going off impulse. Yep. I hope everybody enjoys it as much as we have, and let us know what you thought about it.
You betcha. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, well, that's a wrap for this episode, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. For more information about the show, as well as our list of current reads, check us out at www.theelevatedtrader.com.
Remember to subscribe and share if you found value in today's episode. See you next week.